The Carter Lake Councilwoman accused of harassment toward employees will keep her position. After an investigation into Jackie Wall's alleged behavior, recommendations from an outside attorney were shared to a packed room tonight. This included a public reprimand of Wall and the reinstatement of the City Council's 90-day plan. The plan was created in 2022. 3 of the 5 council members voted in favor to reinstate it. The city attorney also read a letter written by Wall in response to the investigation. While some of the results of the investigation were shared, the council did vote to keep the document private. It's a move the city's mayor says he did not want.
I wish the report and the investigation would have been a public record, because then it would show those ones that are in question what the investigation came up with.
Public comment was not allowed at the meeting. Mayor Cumberledge says the decision was made by recommendations of outside legal counsel.
Forbes magazine says